Okay, I need to add this little video at the beginning because for some reason the first few recordings that I made, the slide is sideways. So you need to turn your iPad or watch it sideways. I can't figure out how to flip it without redoing the whole video. And then halfway through it fixes itself. I have no idea. So it's just entertainment. You're welcome. Hey boys and girls, I wanted to make a quick video over the graphing homework that you have tonight and or over the weekend. So hopefully when you go to do it, you won't get frustrated and bail on me. So I want to make sure that you know what you're doing. So this is the paper that you each had at your desk that you were using as your fact sheet. And you were taking that information and putting it in this data sheet. So you can see here that you have African elephant, hippopotamus, giraffe, etc. And these are all the animals that are on this paper. So all you're doing for this first column is you're copying the information from the data sheet into the paper. So I'm going to do this first one. Let's see, African elephant, 3.3 meters, hippopotamus, 1.5, and I'm just looking at the sheet that you had access to, 5.3. I have another one next to me, that's why I'm able to do it. I can't really see through the paper. 1.78 for the rhinoceros, 1.28, these are all meters. Topi, I guess that's how you say that. I don't think it's toppy. 0.75, 0.63, 1.2. All right, so now I'm going to do the same thing. And again, I got this information. It says 3.3 meters for the African elephant. Right here, 3.3 meters. That's all I did because this is in meters. So now I'm going to get the length. So I'm going to look at the length of an African elephant, 6.75. So I put that right here. 6. Hippopotamus. Let's see. Hippo. Let's see on this camera. There we go. 4.2. So I'm going to fill those in. 4.25. Okay, so I filled in the information given, and now the last column that I already have the information for is kilograms. So I'm going to copy that down. The African elephant is big. Okay, so I just copied all that down, and again, same information, 50 kilograms, 6,000 kilograms, and I just took that information and copied it onto this paper. Now this paper is asking that you need to convert meters to centimeters, all right? Again, meters to centimeters. For the height and the length, obviously not the weight, because this is in kilograms and we're going to leave it in kilograms. So you all did, or you told me that you learned the stair-step method. So I'm assuming that you remember it, and we've gone over it in class for conversion. It's the easiest way to do it. So King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. All right. So kilo, hecto, deca, base, and base is meter. Liter, I do that in script so it doesn't look like a 1, and grams. So this base means the word with no prefix in front of it. So meter, liter, gram. All right. Then this is deci, centi, milli. And I'll just write this up here just for kicks. Okay, so what you do is you put your pencil where you're starting and move to the place where you're going to end. So for each one of these, we're starting at meters and we're ending at centimeters. So starting at meters and ending at centimeters, which is here, see, centi. So we're going 1, 2, And because we're going down the stairs, we're kind of moving to the right. We move our decimal to the right and we move it 2 places. 1, 2, because that's how many steps you need to go down to get to centi. If I was converting it to millimeters, I would go 1, 2, 3, but I'm not. I'm stopping at centi. And that's the case for every single one of them. So what I like to do is I like to write it here. Okay, same number. So when I convert it, remember, I'm moving the decimal point 1, 2 to the right, put the decimal point there, and fill it in with a 0. Anytime you have that empty space, you fill it in with a 0. We'll do the next one. 1.5, 1, 2, put a decimal point. So now that's 330, that's 150. Do a couple more. 5.3, 2 steps, 1, 2, fill it in with a 0. Now it's 530. So it's like one of those magical cooking shows. I just happen to have a completed diagram. And so now I've converted all of the meters to centimeters, meters to centimeters, and then kilograms. So I'm going to take that away. And now I need to turn on the back. Some of you thought that when you were done with the front, you were done. Oh, there's a back. So once you do all this data, you turn it over, and there are 3 things you need to do. Draw a bar graph. That's the first one. Draw a bar chart, which is the same as a bar graph. I wish they didn't use those interchangeably because that's confusing. And then create a line graph. So you need to make 3 graphs. 2 bar, 1 line. So I'm going to help you set these up, and then you're going to have to figure that out on your own. All right? So when you make a graph, I don't always use a ruler, but I'm going to this time. Especially with graph paper, it's kind of nice that you can just trace the line, but I don't always draw straight. Okay, so this is always 0. So I'm making a bar graph, and I'm using the information. It says on here, draw a bar graph that shows the height of each animal on the fact sheet. Use graphing paper. Think carefully about which measurement to use, meter or centimeters, and don't forget to label your graph. So basically, I can choose to use this column or this column. So how am I going to figure that out? Well, you could do either one, but when I look at these numbers, when there's decimals involved, it gets really hard to graph accurately. So instead, I'm going to graph these numbers, okay? And it should be the same graph. The bars will be the same compared to the other animals because I'm going to use the centimeters for all the animals. I'm not going to use centimeters for giraffe and meters for the white rhinoceros. I'm going to use all in this category. You're trying to graph 1.15. That's kind of hard to do. It's a lot easier to graph 115. Now the trick is, how do I figure out what's going to go on the X and what's going to go on the Y? So remember, dry, mix, okay? So the dependent variable is also called the responding, but we're not going to worry about that. Goes on the Y-axis, and the independent variable goes on the X-axis. So in this case, now it's a bar chart. So it's kind of hard to say what's changing, right, to determine what a dependent and independent variable is. But I can tell you that bar charts are always going to go up like this, like skyscrapers, okay? And really what's changing in this graph are the animals. We're going to have all different kinds of animals, and then we're just going to graph their heights. So we're going to put the animals on the X-axis right here. And then we're going to put the numbers for their, what was the first one? Height in meters, right? Height, yep, on the Y. So I know that I'm just going to make, and remember scale, so we don't want to jam all the animals together and then spread them apart over here. So I have how many animals? 9 animals. So I'm going to kind of block out. So this is 1, 2, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's just so I know I have room. Okay. Now I need to decide what interval am I going to use for the y that's going to take into consideration my smallest number, which is 63, all the way up to my biggest number, which is 530. And the intervals have to be equal. You can't do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way up to 100 and then jump by hundreds. You have to have it be equal. So let's see. Let's see, 63 up to 530. So if I went by 20s, see, this is where you always should use pencil, obviously, but then if you make a mistake, you can go back and fix it. So I'm not sure that I have room for 20s because it would be 5, 200, 3, yeah. So I'm gonna go by 25, okay? So that's 25, 50, 75, 25, 50, 75, 100. 125, 150, 175, 200. 225, 250, 275, 300. 325, 350, 375, 400. 25, 50, 75, 500. 25, 50. So I could extend my line if extend my line if I needed it, but I don't because my biggest number is 530. I'll get that y out of the way. So notice that they're evenly spaced. I didn't put 200 right here. I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 200. 1, 2, 3, 4, 300. Okay, that's the I in tails for interval. All right, so now I have my animals are going to go down here, and let's see, I'm going to, let's see, this will be, let's see, the first one is the elephant, second one, I'm just going down in order on the paper, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now if I didn't want to write their names here, this is kind of tight, but I'm going to try to write their names. I could always color each bar a different color and make a key. But I'm just going to go with writing their names right now. So elephant, hippo, and remember, I'm just doing this in order from this paper. So number 3 was giraffe, white rhino. I definitely ran out of room, so I may have to make a key after all. Zebra, 6 is a topi, brown hyena, 8 is the leopard, 9 is the lion. Okay, so here's my, so remember it's a bar graph, so it's going to look like a city skyline. So the elephant, 330 centimeters. See, 330 centimeters. Now while I'm thinking of it, I better label this because this is centimeters. It's height in centimeters. Okay, so elephant is 330. So here's 300, 325, so it'd be just above the 325 line. Then I just make a bar. All right, so like I said, I think it'd probably be a good idea to color this in because it's kind of hard to read the name here. So let's look at the hippo. 150, so 125, 50. Okay, giraffe, 530. So notice I keep my pencil on the paper so I don't mess up where my bar is supposed to go. So just above 25 and back down. Okay, white rhino, 178. Let's see, 100, 200, 175, just above 175 would be 178. Zebra, 128, 125, just above 125. And how am I getting these numbers? Well, I'm just looking over here. I know that this next box, since I'm going by 25, is 125. If you feel like you're going to have trouble with that, then label every box. That's totally fine. Topi, 115. So 100, not quite 125. Hyena, 75. All right, let's keep going. The phone rang. Leopard, 63. So between 50 and 75, put it there. And then lion, 120. So here's 100, just below 125. So I'm going to go back and color these because this is kind of hard to read. But remember, what are these? These are the types of animals. And I need to be sure I label my x-axis. All right, so I'm done with my bar graph. That's it. You'll notice that you can see one is way bigger than the rest because we are measuring height in this situation. Well, what if I had no idea about this data sheet? What if I was looking at this graph and I was like, I wonder what this is about. Let's see, height, and there's some animals here, but how do I know what this whole graph thing is about? So you need to put a title. So remember, for every graph that you make, you need to apply tails. You need to think about it. So put a tail on it. The first one is the title. Do we have a title? Well, no, we don't have a title. So we would say height in centimeters of, and look, I have it, look at that. Animals of the African savanna. That would be perfect. Not just a variety of animals. Height in centimeters of animals of the African savanna. Okay, there's my title, so I can check that off. A is axis. Did I label my axes? Yep, height in centimeters. Types of animals. So I did that. Interval. Are my intervals evenly spread out? Or did I do 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 100, 200? Nope, I did it by 25s all the way up. So I know that I did okay with my interval. Well, L. Remember, L stands for legend or key. So remember, you could have a key over here with the colors. And remember, I said this was a little hard to read. So maybe let's see, maybe I'll color the elephant green. And then in my key, I'll make a little green box. And then I'll write elephant. And the next one, I'll just do two. Let's see. Ooh, I'll do brown. Brown for the hippo. So the hippo will be brown. I'll put that here. And then up here, I'll make a brown thing. Hippo. All right. So that's the legend, and I'll have to do it for all of them, not just some. Okay, and then scale. Well, I did a good job of using up. I spread it out nicely. I used up most of the paper, so my scale is good. So this, based on tails, as long as your data is correct, this graph would get 100 because it met all of that criteria, providing, like I said, you got your data right. Okay, so this is a bar graph. You're going to do the same exact thing for this column in length. And what you'll do is you'll change, obviously you're going to have to look at what your intervals are supposed to be, because your smallest number is 118 and your biggest number is 675. So you need to have intervals that start at 0 and go all the way up to at least 675 so you can fit it on your graph. So you might use, maybe you do the same intervals as this one and you just go a little bit further up. That's fine. So same thing, but you're going to be doing length. Make sure you apply tails. Put a tail on it and make sure you get full credit on your graph. So next I'm going to show you how to make a line graph. Okay, a line graph is what you're going to use to graph this data. So this data table has just 2 animals on it, but it's measuring weight over a period of 5 years. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2011 to 2015. Anytime you graph something over time, you use a line graph. So we're going to make a line graph, and I'm going to just do my paper. I guess I could still do it a little long way. So I'm just going to make a graph. So see, I didn't use a ruler that time, and that's fine. Just fill that in. Okay, so this is a line graph. So what do I put on the X and the Y? Well, remember dry mix. So the dependent variable is what we're measuring. What are we measuring here? We're measuring the weight. What is changing is the time. The time is changing, and as a result, the weight is changing. Just like as you get older, with every year, your height changes, your weight changes, whatever. So here, and always, time always goes on the X when you're making a line graph. So the time is going to go here, and then obviously the weight is going to go over here. And the weight in kilograms, you're going to want to make sure that you write what the unit of measure is. And then time in years. Better to put too much information than not enough. So let's figure out our interval on the X first. So 2011, 2012. So let's just start it in a little bit. How many data points am I going to have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And times 2, because I have 2 animals. So I'm going to have 5 points that I'm going to connect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5 more points that I'm going to connect. I'll probably use a different color. So time in years, 2011, and let's say I actually drew on that line. I'm really bad at drawing a straight line. 1, 2, 3, so I'm going to do the same. 1, 2, 3, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. Okay, so I have my years. Now I need to graph this. So now I have my smallest number, let's see, 1,516, all the way up to 6,010. So what interval can I use here that gets me from 1,000 to 6,000? That's going to be interesting. Let's see. If we go by, maybe we should go by, no, hundreds isn't going to be enough. Maybe 250, 500, 750, 1,000. That might work. So 250 is kind of like going by 25, but with a 0 after it. So 250, 575, that's 1,000. So 4 boxes later is 2,000. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I've run out of room, so I'm going to extend it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now I've decided on my intervals and my time in years. So now I need to start graphing. I'm going to do these 2 data points right here. Okay? And I'm going to do them in different colors so as not to confuse. Normally, I would do just one set of data. I would do the African elephant, then I would do the giraffe. But I'm just doing one from these 2 because I want you to do the rest. So African elephant in 2011, so here's 2011, 6,000 kilograms. So right here, I put a dot. 2011, I follow it all the way up, 6,000. And I'm going to make this brown so that I remember to connect it to the next data point in brown. And maybe I'll do 2 data points. So I'll do the next data point for the African elephant. 5,980. So African elephant, 5,980. So 2012, 5,000. So that's almost 6,000. So I'm going to do it right here. and that's brown. And now I'm going to connect this. Okay, so the next data point you do will be 2013, which is 5,990. You need to graph that, then connect it with the brown or whatever color pencil you choose. I have brown. All right, now I'm going to do the giraffe, and I'm going to do that in green, 1,516 in 2011. See, 1,516. So, 1,000, let's see, 1,500 is like right here because it's in the middle. And so that would be not too much above that, right there. And then 1,520. So it's not going to be very different. And then I'm going to connect them. So you're doing that for the rest of the numbers, and make sure that you connect all of your giraffe colors the same way. Or if you don't have colors, you can do this. You can do, let's see, I'll show you on the back. You can do dots, like dashes, or you could do dots. Okay? So they look a little different if you don't, so don't come to me on Monday and say, well, I didn't have colored pencils at home. Just do dots or like X's or something like that. But the lines have to look a little different. Maybe you could do like a, something like that, right? So don't forget when you're finishing up your line graph to give it a tails. Give it a tails. Give it tails, all right? Does it have a title? Is the axis labeled? Did you use a good interval? Does it need a legend? And did you do it to scale? Did you use the whole piece of paper? So that should be all you need. So let me know if you need help. You can access me by email. Hopefully I'll see it. If not, I think if you review this video, you won't have any troubles. Have a good weekend.